Neil, you have to say something.
Yeah, well, I do want to speak, Mr. Chair, and I do want to congratulate Councillor Barker for pursuing this dog at a bone, and, because that's what it needs.
Yeah.
The thing that strikes me in this, and I've got every sympathy for the staff involved, particularly James, trying to do as much as he possibly can. He gets climate change, he understands it, he knows the urgency, but he can only work with the resources that we've got in front of him. And quite frankly, when you assemble the issues there, it's clear we are making a significant effort in this direction. But like Councillor Barker and like Councillor Williams, it's not enough. It's simply not enough. And this is where we need to introduce even more urgency. We need, one, to make sure our organisation is the flagship that is driving through this region and driving the whole debate. That's to me, that's the most fundamental thing we can do. I'm really concerned, and that's why I'm pessimistic, Mr. Chair, that the leaders of our respective authorities, local authorities, do have and share that same sense of urgency, and I know they don't. And some, in fact, are not even prepared to acknowledge climate change around the corner. And the reality of it is it's not it's not a point in time where we're going to fall over the cliff. It doesn't work like that. How it's working is a landmine. It's like walking across a landmine, and the landmine's getting closer and closer together. So this year it's drought. Next month it'll be storm and wet weather. A year after it'll be more erosion on the coastline, etc. So that's what it looks like. And by 2030, there'll be landmines going off all over the shop. You can be assured of that. So our job is to at least try and part them a little, create some pathways and make real traction. I'm enthusiastic about going to the public on this. I'd much rather go earlier than a long-term plan timeframe. I think we ought to go as a standalone consultation so that in fact we can elevate the issue in everyone's mind and keep this thing on the boil. So, Mr. Chair, happy to support this, but it's the urgency that I'm really seeking to have expressed throughout this exercise.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Anyway, then Sheriff.
You know, all day long we've actually been peddling this message, and as we say in East Pier, I'll bring you back to East Pier, you know, the glasses we're all wearing are climate change, and we're all well aware, and through the work that Rebecca and her team are going to do, and Drew, this will become very visual. However, what you're proposing here, even if we would start today, in 10 years' time, we'll have no visibility of actually what we have achieved, apart from 3 people, maybe electric cars, and we've got a big hole in our budget. Okay, so the rates, just a question, 2.5%. So next year we'll be looking at an extra 2.5%, just because of what we actually are going to vote on today. It's going to be quite tough, because we're not going to be it won't be another zero rate plus 2.5. It actually will be playing catch up plus 2.5. It will be quite tough. 2005, I had an opportunity to go to Kiribati. I had no reason to be there, but I was invited to go there. And somebody said to me, "You better go, Sheriff. You know, I know you haven't got any work there to do, but come on, jump on the Hercules so you can come along." So no, I have got no business there. Yeah, but in 15, 20 years' time, it won't be there. All these 10,000 people from Kiribati will be here in New Zealand. So it's the last time you can be there. Actually, the landmass of Kiribati has increased. Okay, all those people are still there, and we're still employing them. And I actually worked with the Kiribati people, or Ni Kiribati, however you want to call them, and they actually don't see there as an issue. Their Prime Minister, Prime Minister Tong, thought there was an issue, and he got a lot of money out of it from the United Nations because he actually peddled this particular message. He's not there anymore, but I know what his bank account looks like. It looks pretty healthy. Okay? So there you go. So 15 years ago, 2005, they said Kiribati would no longer exist around about this time. And where is it now? still there and healthy, and everybody's still there, okay? They're not as healthy as people, unfortunately, but that's other reasons. So are we just doing this to be seen? So they're actually seen as a regional council, that we actually at the forefront? I'm not having it, you know, and neither are the people that I meet in the street. They're telling me, stop it. You know, we've got COVID-19, we've got some serious issues economically. That's where we need to put our finger right now. And if we actually have the luxury to be able to do this, great. I will be all for it, you know. I live in a straw bale home. You know, I ride my electric bike whenever I can. I don't have an electric stove in my house. So I'm actually not on that balcony. I'm actually doing it, okay? I've made a big investment in a voltaic system on my pack house. So I actually can be from an electricity point of view, neutral. So I make that investment so I don't have to have any power coming down my line if I can help it, okay? So I'm actually walking the parade. But this here is just, if I listen to what you guys are saying, you're making grandiose statements of things that are going to happen, and I've seen it with Kiribati and Tuvalu, it didn't happen. And you can't tell me now that in 10 years' time, we'll actually have landmines going off every single year. So you know my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Will?
Sorry, we're not a tag team down here, but
You guys sit somewhere else over there with the backbenches, will you?
look, I'll start off with positives, and well done to Councillor Barker for bringing up something he's so passionate about. I just don't agree with I guess the method. What I will say is that I'm very glad if we go with this that we are going to consult the public. I certainly would have struggled to sleep tonight if we forged ahead without, I guess, respecting our ratepayers and their views. So on my Facebook page, I guess I've done my own consultation. I've got approximately 50 responses there of that all say, bar one, all say no to this. So yeah, look, what did we get? 90 odd in submissions in the annual plan. So, you know, that doesn't seem too far off in terms of a response. I just struggle to see how this is going to be effective, and you know, it does, listening to everyone, sounds like we are forging ahead with this, but just on such little detail, such a, you know, I agree, it's very much a significant decision. To me, there's just not enough detail there, and yeah, I mean, you know, what are the three people actually going to do? How is this going to be effective? I can't see any of that from in the paper. If we go to farmers, and no doubt, you know, they'll be on the list of people that are approached in this work stream. You know, what can farmers do? They can plant trees. You know, as we know, there's plenty of pine trees getting planted around here. They can plant erodible hillsides. We're doing, you know, what our resources allow in terms of poplars coming out of the nursery. We can plant riparian strips and native plants. We're doing, you know, what we can source there already. We can be more productive around growing our animals quicker. That's, you know, that's been happening in the sheep and beef sector for over 30 years now. So I guess, you know, what else can farmers do? And like my green friend beside me here, I live in an off-the-grid house, so I guess I've got first-hand knowledge at perhaps at what Councillor Barker's expecting us all to route to go down here. It's got a shed full of batteries that, you know, would fill in this hole in here. They're currently 9 years old, and at the end of their lifespan, they all need to be chucked out. Probably got to spend 25 grand to start again with newer technology that might last a bit longer, but nonetheless, that's part of the system. When the sun doesn't shine, we have to go down and start up a diesel generator because the sun doesn't shine all the time. We collect rainwater with a solar pump that then pumps it up. The sun's not shining at the same time as it's raining, so, you know, we're probably collecting 10% of the water that we could. So a lot of stuff sounds good in practice, but I guess until you actually get in amongst it and find that it's very expensive, doesn't actually always work that well, and it's consistently breaks down, and real hard to find people that know about it to work on it. So yeah, like I welcome anyone to come down and visit our house at any stage. But yeah, that's all I'll say. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Will.
Oh, could I thank you? Can I just thank everybody for the discussion? It's been really quite revealing, and I think on occasions you do need to have a healthy debate, strong opinions, and get into it. Otherwise, there's no point. We're not here to shuffle paper, and I think this has been one of those. Can I just say that we did, as a council, declare a climate emergency, and we had a number of young people come here and see us, and they challenged us, what are you doing? What are you doing? And until recently, I'd have to say the answer was very little, actually, that reflected the actions of an emergency. Emergency describes urgency. And the Hawke's Bay Regional Council actually is in a very luxurious place. It can argue hand on heart tomorrow that we are carbon neutral. It does. We've got a whole pile of trees in the ground. It's positive action. We can argue we are actually in a... But that's not because of our own actions in our own self, it's because of the position we're in. So we can argue that, but it doesn't address the broader picture, actually. The broader picture is that climate gases are going up. We do have a problem globally where people, believe it or not, glaciers are melting. We now are being told that within a short period of time, polar bears will be disappeared from the planet, because the means of hunting for food will have gone. In the summer months, there will be no ice floes in the Arctic area, and polar bears will have gone. And that will happen before all of us here around this table have passed on ourselves. Within our time, they will go. Glaciers are melting at a much faster rate than we've ever seen, phenomenal rate. So it's happening whether we like it or not, and you can ignore it if you choose to, but the climate change is not going to ignore that. As to acting and doing things, then sometimes you have to do things which are unpopular. Now, I'll give you a very good example. If Helen Clark had a weight of popularity to change the rules on smoking, it would never have happened. Change the rules on smoking in bars and restaurants, you would have thought New Zealanders' throats were being cut at the time, the outrage about it. But the moment it had been done, who ever thought of going back to put a bill into House to enable smoking again in bars and restaurants? No one. So it was the action was taken because it was right, and I think this is another one of those too. Yes, the proposal can be belittled because what are the three people going to do, where they're going to go, etc. We can do all of that. The fact is, we need an independent voice to challenge what we do as a council, to challenge what businesses do, to help and assist. And if we don't have specific resources to do something, nothing's going to happen. So that's my view. I accept the wisdom of the council's decision that it's going to put it to the long-term plan. We're going to have a discussion about it. I think it's going to be a very intense discussion, and I welcome it slower than I'd have liked, but I have to accept that. That's the will of council. And I just want to thank you all for your contribution to this discussion. I appreciate the work of the staff and the thoughts and every other thing. And well, may we have a good debate about it, because we need to discuss this, if nothing else. So happy with the outcome, Chair.
Okay, so we're going to put it, it's the amended version, of course, which is up there now in front of you. So all those, we're going to go straight to division, because I think it's important. Yep. It's important. So all those in favour, raise their hand. Oh, she was a close
Sorry,
one.
keep them up, please.
And against? 5 for the old.
Gosh, the old 5-4,
the old
eh?
5-4. The motion is carried. Thank